Winter Chapter 2. Much later, Mandy awoke to find Dr. Matthews standing beside her. It was dark outside the window, and a soft light was burning in one corner of the room. "Hello." She managed a weak smile. "Well, it's about time you woke up, young lady. How are you feeling?" "Much better." "You look better, too. You've been quite a sorry sight these past few days." "What happened?"
"Oh, what didn't happen?" Dr. Matthews sat down beside her on the bed and took her hand.
"Do you remember anything at all?"
Mandy tried to recall the pattern of events leading to her illness. It was too much of an effort to concentrate. She shook her head. "Well, briefly, you were found in the cottage in the woods. You remember leaving the orphanage?"
"Yes."
Memory came flooding back. Mandy's heart sank. "A man named Mr. Fitzgerald brought you to his house, which is where you are now."
The doctor spoke slowly and quietly. "You've had a nasty bout with pneumonia. We decided to keep you here because I didn't want you moved at all." "Oh, where's Matron?"
"At the orphanage. She'll be by tomorrow."
"Is she angry with me?"
"No, I don't think so."
"She's very worried about you, though. You gave her a bad time there for a while."
"Oh, dear." Mandy's fingers clutched anxiously at the coverlet. "But it's over and done with now." The doctor's voice was firm.
"The main thing is for you not to worry about anything. I want you to concentrate on getting well. Are you hungry? Could you eat something?"
Mandy was surprised to discover that she was hungry. Dr. Matthews went off to arrange for some food for her, and she lay back in her bed, looking at the pretty room and wondering how it was that she came to be here. Compared with her room at the orphanage, this room was very large. She wondered if the rest of the house was big too. What did it look like? Was there a garden? She tried to see out of the window, but it was too dark. What would Matron say when she came to see her tomorrow? Would she be annoyed? Would she insist that Mandy be returned to the orphanage? She hoped not. There was the sound of footsteps coming toward her room, and the doctor came in again. Mandy recognized the woman with him. She carried a tray of food. "Mandy, this is Anne Fitzgerald. This good woman has been with you night and day since you got here."
"Hello, Mandy. We spoke earlier, didn't we?"
Anne helped Mandy to sit up, and she arranged the pillows behind her back. "There, how does that look to you?" She placed the tray on Mandy's knees.
Fine, thank you."
But she was suddenly too weak to pick up the spoon for the broth, and she lay back listlessly. "Let me help." Anne took the bowl and gently fed Mandy spoonfuls of the warm liquid. Dr. Matthews sat close by and nodded approvingly. He kept up a stream of cheery conversation, watching her closely all the while. Mandy was glad to have him near. "May I say hello, too?" A tall man entered the room and crossed quietly to the bedside. Mandy recognized the voice. It had been part of her dream, part of the nightmare, too. "Mandy, this is my husband, Bill," Anne said. Mandy looked up and knew this was the knight she had seen on horseback in the rain. This was the man who had brought her to safety here. She faintly remembered the horror of that time. She shuddered and managed to say, "Thank you very much for all you've done. You've been very kind." "Oh, my dear, it's been a pleasure." He had a nice smile and laughing gray eyes. "Are you feeling better?" Mandy nodded. For some reason, she felt a little tearful. Why were they all being so good to her? She blinked and looked away. Everyone started to speak at once. Dr. Matthews got up and announced that it was time for her to rest again. Anne whisked the tray away and helped her lie down once more. She and her husband prepared to leave the room.
"Wait," Mandy found her voice. Could you please just tell me what happened? How it happened and why I'm here?"
"Well," Bill looked quickly across to Dr. Matthews as if seeking permission to speak. "Let's see now. As far as I can gather, it was like this.
Matron discovered you were missing, but she had no idea where you were. Then someone called Sue, I think. Is that your friend? Told her that you might be at the cottage, which is on my property, you see. So Matron called me to help, and I went out on a frightful rainy night and found you and brought you home. Does that make sense?" he smiled. Mandy nodded. It suddenly all made sense. It was Sue who really had saved her. She alone knew that Mandy might have gone to the cottage. How fortunate it was, after all, that Sue had followed her that day and discovered the cottage for herself. But for that, Mandy might never have been found. It was a chilling thought. Her rescue seemed like a miracle. Dr. Matthews spoke up. "Now, young lady, you may look better, but you've got a lot of convalescing to do. That's enough excitement for one night." He tucked Mandy down in bed. She was exhausted and only too glad to be lying flat on her back again. Bill and Anne said good night, and presently the good doctor departed also, promising to return the following morning. Mandy drifted into sleep and wasn't sure if it were minutes or hours later that she felt the familiar cool hand on her brow. The woman's soft voice whispered, "Good night, Mandy. Sleep well. I'll be here if you need me."